The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 21st, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day presented by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, the time is now today to talk about quarterbacks because it's all about the QBs this morning, yesterday evening, really going into the next couple days because we've had two big developments. The first was the commitment of Emory Williams. He's now in the Miami Hurricane fold and seeming solid in that regard. And then suddenly Jaden Rashada, who has been scheduled to come to Miami, it seems like 20 times in the last couple of weeks, suddenly put himself on a red-eye flight to Coral Gables last night, or at least was scheduled to be on a red-eye flight last night to Coral Gables, arriving this morning, and to take a potentially two-day visit to Miami before he makes a decision over the weekend on where he's going to attend school. So we've got a lot to unpack with both of these things. But let's take Emory Williams first. This is a commitment that has been really several weeks in the making, at worst several days. He actually committed a week ago and told Miami that he was going to be coming. But I think it's a good move by Miami to take this commitment. They're willing to take two quarterbacks in this class. If Jaden Rashada wants to come, he still has a spot in the class. But Emory Williams has said that he's not concerned about that he's coming to Miami regardless of if Rashada chooses the Hurricanes after this visit this week. Your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, God forbid I don't talk about what you want to. I want to talk about both of them because there could not be a more bigger dichotomy between, and I'll explain what dichotomy is to you later, Gary. You can ask me after we go off air. There could not be there could not be a bigger dichotomy between the way these two quarterbacks and their families are handling their recruitments. Emory Williams and his father have been totally transparent with us throughout the whole process. They've told us things that we have not reported until we were allowed to report them, which is how, this is how recruiting goes, right? Nobody's out here to ruin a kid's announcement, or to make anybody feel like they're not having the time of their lives being recruited. And, to say that the Jaden Rashada recruitment's the exact polar opposite is, it's like the difference between Antarctica and the Arctic. I'll explain that to you later also, Gary, but they're on the different sides of the earth.
Yeah, please do.
And you can't get stone crabs in either. But the Rashada family, I don't even know how to start, okay? When this whole recruitment started, you felt pretty good about it. I talked to Jaden, talked to the dad, Harlan. Roman Rashada was being recruited. He was a little weird from the beginning because he would, we DM him, hey, can we do an interview with you? Sure. Great. Send me your number. He would love that DM and not respond with a number numerous times.
And then they got caught up in it all.
He's Jaleel Skinnering us. He's just having some fun with us.
All right.
Don't lead us on like you let on Miami. That's all I'm saying. And maybe they'll wind up here. Maybe they'll have a great visit, but I don't like the vibe heading into the visit.
I think what happened was they got caught up in all the nonsense. I mean, he's at 7-7 tournaments every weekend, getting hit up by everybody. Now he's a celebrity. They're getting 100 phone calls a day. And, no, they haven't handled the whole thing great. But I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to say it's a lot to handle. You're talking about families that were living normal lives like everybody else in America. And all of a sudden this recruiting kicks in. And, the phone doesn't stop ringing. Everybody wants a piece of them. Schools all over the country are trying to recruit them. Of course, they're paying attention to potential of NIL deals and everything else. And I think it just got away from the Rashadas a little bit. And, yes, it's been annoying to cover, but I think it's the beast of recruiting today that changed this family and put a lot of pressure on them.
Didn't the dad play at Arizona State in the 90s? Like, doesn't he understand?
Doesn't matter. Nothing like this. It was nothing like this.
It wasn't like this, but he's in that circle. He's a former college high-level athlete. He understands what goes into this. This isn't like new for them. It's not like Jaden Rashada all of a sudden showed up this year and was great. I mean, he's been really, really good. He's been a top prospect for a while. And like I said, Harlan and Jaden were great in the beginning, and then all this maybe it did get to their heads. But just having covered recruiting for so long, sometimes it grates me the wrong way, and maybe fans out there don't understand it, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm being a prima donna about it." But like I've covered it. I've covered.
This one was frustrating to cover because
it's frustrating to cover the Rashada
every second.
That's exactly what it is. It's frustrating to cover the Rashada.
It was every second. It was something new. When he's visiting, he's not visiting. He was always intending to visit Miami from what we were hearing, but then he would schedule it and not come. And then it would be, well, is he going to schedule it 2 days later? And now he was originally going to come for Legends Camp. Now he's coming for a midweek visit. I mean, it's just constantly changing. And what that tells me is the family has lost all total control of this entire process. And it needs to be over, and it will be over. It looks like it'll be over by the end of this week. They will pick a school, and then we'll see if that's their final decision, because they're making it under a lot of pressure, a lot of duress, and it's a long way to December, Matt. So we'll see what happens on Jaden Rashada. We'll be talking about it as the week goes on. All right, Matt, I want to talk a little bit more about Emory Williams, but first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
We here at LifeWallet take security very seriously. Our data security team is working constantly to make sure that your data is not accessed by anybody who you don't authorize.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm
excuse me, sir. Thank you.
I have and he's thinking about it, and I'll be talking to CC. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We use leading technology standards like biometric data to make sure that only you have access to your data and your identity is protected. LifeWallet gives you access to your entire medical history and information at the touch of your finger, so that it can save you time and can save your life.
Data transfer complete.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Emory Williams. And, we got off on a little bit of a tangent there, ranting about Rashada. And we got plenty of time the rest of the week to talk about him. But Emory Williams, I had the, I don't know if honor is the word, but I was able to watch him work out at the Mario Cristobal camp a couple of weeks ago. And it's really interesting. I think that, he could still develop some more arm strength and that, but he does, he's got a great knack for ball placement. He puts the ball in the right place. I saw that when I watched this game tape from last season as well. And at least out on a field where there were just receivers running around in shorts and nobody playing defense, he was able to make every throw on the field. And I could tell that the coaches were impressed enough with him to offer him and commit to taking his commitment and being one of the quarterbacks in the program. Matt, I'm not sure they have to decide right now, is Emory Williams going to be a franchise quarterback at Miami? I don't think there's pressure on that at the moment.
Yeah, look, as I've said, I really like Emory. I like his dad a lot personally, but you have to separate that from when you do your football analysis. And again, anyone's going to look at on highlights. You saw him live. That's a big difference. It's also a big difference seeing him in 11-on-11 action versus against a good team versus watching camp performance. There are players who can do very well at camps. There are players who maybe don't read a defense quite as quickly, don't make as accurate a throw under pressure, things like that. Not that he doesn't, but the only concerning thing, and again, fans love to say how negative I am, but this is just the truth. He didn't have major offers. He chose Miami over USF in the end. He was waiting on offers from FSU and Ole Miss and didn't get them. They said he could camp there and try to get an offer. So whatever it is, when these coaches came out to watch him in the spring and in the past off his film, a lot of schools passed. And hopefully that spurs him on, because
Well,
if you read our stories with him from yesterday, you can see he's all about the team. He wants to work hard. He'll do whatever they ask. You know, that counts for something against a Rashada who, and we've talked about this before, you have to sort of deprogram them. He comes in, I'm the star, I'm the greatest. Everyone's always told me how amazing I am. I'm going to be the starter. You have to deprogram them. This Emory Williams comes in humble, wants to work hard. He understands his place as a freshman. He'll happily redshirt and be the scout team quarterback. How many Miami Hurricane quarterback recruits have said that in the past? None. Is it concerning that he didn't have any major offers besides Miami? A little bit. You know, fans could say, I see why fans say, when I posted, you know, Emory was nice enough to give us a heads up, hey, I'm committing soon. So we posted a stay tuned for a big commit. And everyone's like yelling, why'd you say big commit? He's not a big commit. And I'm like, well, he's the University of Miami future quarterback potentially. Listen, so that makes him a big commit. It's quarterback you.
You got Jake Garcia and Ja'Cory Brown sitting on campus. You've got Jaden Rashana and Dante Moore also being recruited by Miami. Like, what does anybody expect? You got the two of the top quarterbacks in the country that you're still in the mix with at this point of the game, and you've got two quarterbacks on campus. What expectations can you possibly have that are greater than that? I mean, and I'm not saying they're going to get Rashada. I'm not saying they're going to get Dante Moore. I'm just saying they are in the mix for these guys, and like I don't think reality is any better than what this is right now. And if Emory Williams is the quarterback in the class, it's okay, because you know he's going to be serviceable at worst. I mean, I've seen enough to where I feel he's serviceable as one of 5 quarterbacks in the room. You know, he's certainly as good or better than Peyton Matosha, who's been one of those 5 for the last few years. And then see how he develops. I mean, he shows, you know, smarts. He shows a lot of things that you need in a quarterback. What he doesn't show to me is an NFL arm at this point. And he's going to have to get strong, you know, build his arm strength, but he still has a whole year of high school football left. And, you know, he can work on those things. So, you know, we'll see what happens, Matt, you know, but I think you and I kind of agree that it's a good take at this point in the game based on where they are.
I have no problem with it at all, because any recruit who has that attitude and has a good enough skill set to where Frank Ponce and Josh Gaddis say, okay, we'll take him. Who are we to argue? Who are fans to argue? I mean, I could see maybe if Frank Ponce was the offensive coordinator, I could see some arguments, because, look, he's used to the App State level. Maybe he's not quite so, you know, up to date on what it takes to win games at the Miami Hurricanes level. But Josh Gaddis was at Michigan. You know, he's been at top programs, obviously, and he knows what it takes to win at these top programs. And he said, "Yeah, I'll take this guy happily." So you know, fans who are concerned, you know, the Matt Shodells of the world who are always concerned about everything, you know, maybe we shouldn't be so concerned.
All right, before we go today, there is one more story that I want to talk about, and we had a pair of coaches weigh in on new Cane tight end pickup, Reed McKeska, and Matt, they like what they see there.
I like Reed McKeska a lot. It's interesting because if you watch his film, you know, he really looks a lot like sort of a young Travis Kelce to me. I mean, he's a bruiser. He's a really good looking, really good looking prospect. So I'm excited to see what he can do here at Miami. He's going to put on some more weight. He's a really tall kid who could be a downfield threat. He could be in multiple spots, H-back, tight end, on the line, everything. And, you know, we had a big update with his coach talking about it. Is he a little raw? Yeah, he's raw, but he's got a 400-pound squat, 275 power clean, 290 bench. So, you know, he does have some strength he'll gain, size he'll gain, and he's got that attitude. We talked to 2 coaches about him, because he had one coach up until from age 6 until 10th grade, and another coach last year. So we talked to both those coaches. So I'd encourage everyone to read the story. But the theme with both of them is that on the field, he's got that nasty streak to him, which is what you want, right? That's the Miami Hurricanes. That's the Gary Ferman nasty streak stuff, man. So you love to hear that.
Nasty.
I like that pickup a lot. You guys know that I tell the truth. Like this pickup a lot. He's a little raw, but he's got all the upside in the world. And with the coaching at Miami, that's sort of the wild card, right? We don't talk about it all the time, but there was such little development. We used to talk about players coming in and getting worse. That's not going to happen anymore. Players will come in and stay exactly the same, right, Gary?
Yeah, right.
Players will come in and get better.
They will.
Players will come in and get better. And this is the kind of prospect now who's not going to just be on this level like where he is as a recruit. He's going to keep going up. He's got such upside. And you get some kids, we talk about all the time, the 5 stars are already up here. It's hard to make them have that curve. Kids like him, they have a huge upside. When people talk about upside, it's based on good coaching because they have so much to learn, so much to gain weight-wise, strength-wise. And this is someone who I could see really developing into just a monster athlete at tight end.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. Hope we've given you enough to chew on here on your way to work. We'll come back at you again tomorrow. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Have a great day, everybody.